I think we should stop calling it the Girthcast, by the way.
Yeah, well, we'll probably
Because he's given me your password stuff.
we can't speak it out live because then everybody will have it on the internet.
Oh, are we live now?
We are live.
Well, it's okay.
It's written over here.
So much.
No one hack into this room somehow and find out.
Should we maybe stop it and start it again since I made it past
Well,
I'm sorry.
we've started now so people would see the thing. We can cut it out and give them.
I mean, what? Like even if I gave it away over the internet. It's
Yeah.
Like, what? Like even if I gave it away over the internet. It's
Yeah.
Like, what? It's a Wi-Fi password.
I know.
Yeah, they'd have to be here for it.
I think this is fine. This is like a raw, authentic thing. That's what people come here for. I'll cut it out and we'll have a wee start, I think. Hello and welcome to the Girthcast. If you joined us there, you'd have heard us having a discussion. Hello and welcome to the Girthcast. If you joined us there, you'd have heard us having a discussion about us not calling it the Girthcast, and I'm totally fine with that. That's the name I've been using for all of my streams.
We just haven't thought of an alternative.
We've not thought of a
name
witty
yet,
one.
really.
We could call it like Doctor Who Podcast
Yeah.
Reactions.
Doctor Who reacts.
Doctor
Who.
I feel like if we get
Fat.
sued, I feel like there was reaction groups, you know, like people
Oh
that
yeah, those
the-
big react.
big reacts were out there, and they'd like they'd made a company and they'd been they're franchising out their reaction
Did they get bought
videos.
by Maker Studios?
I don't know what that is.
It was
So I
like a
can't.
big like Disney like YouTube.
Disney YouTube.
Yeah, it was like Disney. It was like a Disney company that was like investing in YouTubers
Oh, all right.
because YouTubers are the superstars of today.
They are. They're the influencers, aren't
Yeah,
they?
absolutely.
What will the kids
Disgusting.
want to be when they grow up?
Oh, I want to be a
YouTuber.
YouTuber. That's why I'm doing this. You know, like I don't want to actually work. I want to sit at home and just stream things, and then influence people's minds with my terrible opinions about most things.
Sounds great.
We are here to talk about Doctor Who. I want to do a quick PSA before we begin and before we talk about this week's episode. I was watching a YouTuber earlier this week, and he informed me that if you've got Spotify, you can just listen to hundreds, if not thousands, of Big Finish audio dramas for free. Big Finish being the company that puts out like Doctor Who audio drama work. I've always wanted to get into them, but they're incredibly expensive for CDs. And I know they've got a lot of deals on where you can get downloads, but if I wanted to get into it, I'd buy the CDs. And yeah, if you like Doctor Who, go check out Big Finish stuff and go check it out on Spotify because it's just free. It's just free, and it's like thousands of hours of free content, and it's like old Doctors, and like, importantly, all of McGann's early work is just up there for
That's what
free.
you want.
That's what you want to get
When
into.
I think of Doctor Who audio dramas, I think of McGann.
You think of Paul McGann.
Absolutely.
I-
Absolutely.
I don't think any of his short hair leather jacket stuff is up.
No, but you know.
I think a lot of his like early, like his like first one through to his like second or third series is up there. And when this finishes, I probably will go home and listen to some Big Finish audio work.
Like that's part of why I love Doctor Who so much, because even like this terrible, not well loved '90s TV
Yeah.
movie where there was a new Doctor for just that film, like he's like a
Like,
canon.
He's a
proper,
canon, yeah. Like for some reason,
integral to the plot Doctor.
they decided not to do a reboot. They were just
No.
like, no, we're gonna get Sylvester McCoy. We're gonna take him out to LA or wherever they filmed. No, I think it was filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
We'll take him out to Canada and we'll shoot him in an alleyway because this is canon to that old show from the 70s. Even though it didn't until like 4 years before they made the film. Like it's a 70s thing.
Yeah.
But I listened to a thing called Energy of the Daleks, which was a Tom Baker and Leela episode.
Nice.
And it's like actually Tom Baker, and I was sitting there trying to like listen to it because I couldn't see the words. I couldn't see it was like starring Tom Baker.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this Tom Baker? Is this a sound-alike? Is this John Culshaw? No, it's just Tom Baker, and he is like 80.
Yeah, he's older.
The bit I watched of it was just like an extended vibe of the caretaker scene from the 50th anniversary.
That is one of the best Doctor Who scenes of all time.
Because
in my
it was
opinion.
it was just Doctor Who where the Doctor was Tom Baker again, and it was new stuff.
I
And
don't remember when the Doctor was me.
pretty much like he was doing the same kind of old jokes that Tom Baker did, and it was the same kind of format as that like 70s show.
Good stuff.
So yeah,
Anyways, we should-
that is my PSA. I'm going to hand over to David, and he's going to run through the events, because we're gonna you liked last week. You did it like bit by bit, and
I did like last week.
I want you to run through what you remember of last night's episode, and we'll might pick up on a few bits, and then we'll just kind of dive in.
So this week's episode was called The Ghost Monument.
The Ghost
It's
Monument?
written by Chris Chibnall
Mhm.
again. There seems to be like a common theme on like showrunners' first series where they also write the second episode.
That happened with Moffat, didn't
It
it?
happened with RTV, it
Oh,
happened with
yeah.
Moffat, and it's happened with Chris Chibnall again.
That seems like a good bedding in kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess you just want to like control your plot for a couple of episodes.
The direction of the show.
Yep. When we saw them last week, they were just floating in space
Yep,
because their teleporter went wrong.
they were trying to
But
get to the TARDIS, weren't they?
When this episode begins, there's no cold open. We just get to the new opening titles, which I quite enjoyed. Like I thought they were pretty good.
I just can't. I'm a horrible old man, and I can't like them because I feel like there's some sort of youth music. I was saying this last week, but
There's sort of like a bass drop in the theme now a little bit.
I don't know.
I
don't
really
know.
like it though, because like the melody part, like of the actual theme, like the backing's not really the best, but
It seems
the-
kind of wobbly and distorted,
Yeah,
and-
it's
which is what Doctor Who is, I guess.
the theme just sort of seems like they're like the main part of it just seems basically the same as for the '60s theme, with
Mhm.
like some wobs kind of
Some wobs. Some was saying that it was a combination of a lot of themes, and
Yeah, so yeah.
and like it was kind of like a visualizer TARDIS
Yeah, I like the
vortex kind of
effect,
thing.
like, I wasn't so keen on the episode title like only appearing like right at the very end after
Mm.
the crash, but
I really want it to be the second Doctor credits that were like incredibly like mod and like incredibly 60s. It was like this font. I can't really describe it in words, but like if you've seen the second
yeah, it's
Doctor's
like the
font,
capital I, like
capital,
the serif.
big, huge.
It's like the serif.
I don't know fonts. I know wingdings,
Yeah.
but that's as far as I go really. So they end up in space, don't they?
They end up in space. They were in space in the last episode, but when we find them, they're just on a spaceship because they've been picked up by these dudes
These dudes
who
who
are trying to find a planet.
Yep.
Which is in the wrong place, which is why they teleported to the wrong place because the planet was like out of orbit. Or
they don't really
something,
cover
so-
why it's out of orbit in the
No.
entire episode.
No, they just sort of said it was, and fair enough, it was out of orbit. So there's these like two people who are like trying to get to this planet.
hmm
Like the team sort of split up. They didn't really
They're
explain
the
why.
team of the Doctor, Yaz,
And-
Dyspraxia Man, who I can never remember the name of,
Ryan.
Ryan, and Bradley
Graham.
Walsh. Graham. Yeah, I'm just going to call him Bradley Walsh.
Fair play.
It's weird that they're not just calling him Bradley. It seems like that kind of a role.
You're not wrong. But yeah, I think the doctor was with Yasmin and the female. I can't remember their name. The female.
Oh, I thought they were both from the north, but I feel like the lady person
She
picking
sounded a bit Northern Irish.
Northern
I'd say,
Irish,
yeah.
but like to my ears, she sounded very northern, and I was like, is
The other
everyone in
guy was
space just
definitely-
northern
yeah.
now? Like, I know the joke is many planets have a north, but like, is everyone gonna be northern?
Well, in this era of Brexit,
This Brexit
we're
era.
trying hard to represent Brexit areas. So you know.
Yeah, I guess I don't know why I thought the Northern Irish lady was northern. Like it's a problem with my ears, I guess.
I'm pretty sure she was Northern.
Yeah, she at some points in the episode she was very Irish.
Yeah. But yeah, I forget their characters' names. They were trying to get to this
I
planet.
have no idea what their characters' names were, which is probably a failure of the writing.
Probably,
Man
yeah.
and woman, like
I forget why, but like Ryan and Graham were with the guy, and then Yasmin and the doctor were with the woman in the cockpit. And then
yes.
eventually they decided to get onto the planet. I think they like vaguely crashed the ship or something to get on the planet.
I think a positive that I was thinking about while you were saying that there is a lot of things kind of happen in the episode. It's weirdly dense because you've talked about that there, and that's kind of the first 2 minutes, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
and they crash on the planet, and it looks cool. The
It does,
CGI
yeah,
looked alright.
CGI was fine. Like the visuals of the episode were really, really good. I thought.
People have been
In-
talking
in
about that.
spots, like
There was definitely bits that we'll get to that looked horrible, but like visually,
visually, like the stuff in like the desert stuff looked fantastic. And then they get there, and then like they kind of like walk about for a bit.
there's a lot of walking about
I
for a
feel
bit in
like
this
there's
episode.
I feel like there's sort of an anticlimax. Like I want the companions to get to an alien planet and be like, "Holy shit, I want an alien planet."
Yeah, but isn't
Like, maybe
that
they're trying to avoid that? But I
isn't
feel like
that-
they were a little too like
BBC Quarry
mellow to the fact that they were on an alien
planet? Yeah, I guess it's because the first thing they didn't do was time travel. The first thing they just kind of got scooped up.
Yeah,
dropped
and
on
there
a-
was a little bit of, oh my god, I'm on a spaceship. Like,
There was
so,
Yaz and Ryan had like a scene where they were like, "Oh, we're in space,"
Yeah.
but like it was just a scene. Like
Yeah.
it didn't. And like, one of our friends was saying that they went to South Africa to film this.
Seems like it, yeah.
Like, they could have just went to a BBC quarry. Like,
Yeah, absolutely could have.
for what they were doing with that planet, it didn't really like. It looked good, but it didn't look like
Yeah,
let's
and
take
so
all our
this is
production
just-
staff
This
away.
is just like a general point about like sort of like there was some elements of danger which we'll get onto later,
Mm.
but it felt like there was no like sense of danger to them being on an alien planet. Like
Well,
the temperature seemed fine.
They were
There's
saying
microbes in the water, but that
There
was
was-
just a one-off line.
there was microbes in the water, which I want to talk about. They were saying that this planet was made cruel, which was, I thought, a good line of dialogue.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that kind of sparked my brain. Why was it made cruel? And they kind of get to it in the episode. But they were saying that it was kind of like a death world. Like, this is... Because we should probably say what, like, the two actors that are there to do. They were there on a race.
They were there on a race to get to this monument.
A cannonball run, if you will.
I can't remember what the prize was.
The prize was, there was a joke, there was a good line, a few lines, where the prize was some amount of space money.
Yeah.
And like the doctor was like, oh, what's that? And they're like,
But it
oh,
was just
this
like-
different type of space
yeah,
money.
it was seemingly this like competition run by this guy in a tent, but he wasn't actually in a tent because he was a hologram.
I like
guess
that guy.
He will appear in future episodes.
He does seem like a guy that would appear in future episodes. Do you remember the blue guy from Moffat's year that
Yeah.
appeared? He was kind of like that, but a bit
'Cause they were
harsher.
like yeah, I think anyways. So he tells these people to go off on a like chase across the planet to get to this ghost monument, and then they'll win the prize.
I liked it. I liked the race. I liked the race element because it was kind of. We'll get to this because it was kind of a. They were telling and not showing, I guess, because it was a space race. They were racing across like galaxies in spaceships that we didn't really get to see from the outside that much, and then they crashed on a BBC quarry planet and then had to walk across the quarry planet to get to the end of the race. But there was this kind of implied backstory where this crazy, wacky race was happening, but they chose to show the end of it that was just in a BBC quarry,
Yep.
which I like and is cost effective. But you're kind of like teasing me there with like a funner thing.
Yeah, so they had to get across some water to get
Some
to
microbe-filled
some
water.
microbe-filled water.
And they came back to the microbe thing a couple times.
Flesh eating.
hmm
There was a little bit of downtime while they fixed the ship. We got a little bit of like Ryan and Graham bonding over.
We did get a little bit of Ryan and Graham, but it was again Graham being like, "Call me granddad,"
Oh, yeah.
and Ryan being like, "I'm not calling you granddad,
Yeah.
because you're not my granddad." And
It was a bit.
when we were watching that, we rolled our eyes at that, and like we would have said that was the hardest bit we rolled our eyes at. But other things happened in the episode.
Yeah, it just felt so trite considering what
So
happened to
trite,
them. Like,
yeah.
they lost, like he lost his wife, and he lost his Ryan lost his
Yeah.
grandmom. And
It seems, from what we
them
know,
being like taken away to an alien planet, and it seems like she only died like maybe a week ago.
if that really, it could
Like
be
2
days.
weeks at best.
The funeral, like
Like it was literally like the day of or the day after the funeral
mhm.
where they got taken. It just feels like it felt like out of context.
It feels forced and it's dumb, and every time because like we were hoping it wouldn't be every episode that they'd do the call me
Yeah.
granddad thing, but it kind of looks like they will be, and like who cares? And like just call him like he's Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
Like what harm is it going to do calling him granddad? You call Granda as well. But I'm getting messages from people. I think it was one of our friends complaining about lack of context in this. I feel like we're giving adequate context. There was a space race. It's an episode
Go
of
watch
Doctor
the
Who.
episode.
Yeah,
Like, if you watch
basically.
the episode, you'll know what we're talking
There will
about.
be spoilers. It's
There will,
something we
yeah.
should have said half an hour ago.
Um,
The
so yeah,
the two guys.
I quite like the little bit of bonding they had over the engine. Like
Yeah,
it's like,
quite-
how does
yeah,
the
yeah.
engine work like solar powered.
There was 3 suns on the planet, so it's
Yeah.
Tatooine.
Yeah.
And like, I liked that scene, but it was that bit on the boat because they went on a boat to get across this river of flesh-eating microbes.
Was weirdly edited because like it had a bit where like they told Ryan to go to sleep, but then he like just like woke up
Yeah,
straight away.
they woke up straight away,
There was
and
so many
then
like quick jump cuts away, and then like fade outs and fade ins.
that was one of those scenes that like when it finishes, I say that was a scene, I guess.
Yeah, like-
Like it was a weird use of time where it was like they were establishing that it was going to be a wee while on the boat, so go asleep, and then they immediately got him up, and it was just Bradley Walsh waking him up again.
Yeah.
The boat also had a good scene with Ryan and Bradley bonding, fixing an engine because he did an NVC or some
Oh,
sort
yeah,
of qualification.
MVQ, yeah,
MVQ,
yeah.
got to put that MVQ to good use. Something like that was fine. It immediately had a scene where the man racer, who is a terrible character,
Just awful.
just awful.
Terrible.
He's like a gruff Han Solo space guy that doesn't like trust anyone.
It was a
And-
terrible character, but he did actually give me my favourite Doctor part in the episode because I feel like she got very slightly annoyed with him at one point, which is like something to her character.
So we'll
which-
talk about the Doctor's character, We will talk about it, but like he was like a cardboard cutout, gruff Han Solo type, and I'm usually fine with that. But he had a scene where he explained that he didn't trust anyone because his mum told him to climb up a tree and then jump out and she'd catch him, and then his mum didn't catch him, and he broke his arm and sprained his ankle or shattered his ankle, as he said, and then like she looked over him and was like, "Didn't trust anyone, son. You can't trust anyone in this galaxy." And
That was plagiarised.
was that
I
plagiarised?
have definitely either seen or read that. I think read that somewhere.
Mhm.
But the place where I read it, I don't know how you're rating your podcast, Craig, how badly can I swear?
You can swear.
So the
That's what
the
we're
place
not
I read
ready.
it was almost definitely, it might have been Irving Welsh actually, it was
Yeah.
that teach you trust nae cunt. It might have been Irving Welsh, it might have come from William McIlvany's Docherty, but that was plagiarised. It was
Well,
almost word for word.
That's a
English.
shame. I mean, you can kind of. I want to say you can kind of get away with that in sci-fi
Yeah,
if
I
you're
think so. I
intentionally
think
doing
it's
it.
a totally different context, it's fine.
But like, he kind of sold it to me because like he said he loved his mum after that. He's like, "I love my mum." Like I was like, that's the best thing he's done and said in the episode. But like the whole time you're just like rolling your eyes, being like, "Oh God!" Like who just comes out with like, "When I was 4, my mum like."
Yeah.
I feel like it's a problem of New Who in general, where it's condensed into 40 or 50 minutes, and they have to get through so much stuff and establish things. But it was just so bad.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't necessarily badly acted. It was just a bad line of dialogue. And
Sort of when these scenes were going on, Yaz, the other companion, had nothing to do. He gave her a couple of lines about like her, like how she like wanted like a bigger flat or something, but
Yaz
she
had
had nothing to do in this
Yaz had some time with Woman Racer.
Yeah.
Who Woman Racer's thing was that she wasn't evil like the other guy because her space family had been like attacked or like I forget the word, it's on the tip of my brain, but they'd been harshly dealt with, and she was trying to win the race to get money to save them or whatever, and she was telling that to Yaz, and she was like, "Didn't you take your family for granted, Yaz?" And all I really remember of Yaz is she nodded when that happened. She was like, "I will only take my family for granted."
That's
I don't
good.
think they'll be like persecuted through space for being space people, but it's relevant to modern day. It was like an allegory or whatever, but that's all Yaz did. It's
Yeah.
weird that Yaz hasn't had anything to do in 2 episodes.
Like I don't think that she did a single thing worth mentioning in the rest of the episode.
Maybe next week it'll be a Yaz
Yeah,
focused thing.
possibly.
I could see that being the case, but it kind of, if you wanted to be harsh, you could be like, "Oh, they shouldn't have had 4 companions or like 4 people on the team because you're always going to have problems with like what are they going to do." It kind of felt like Ryan had stuff to do in this episode. He had the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
They get to this facility, and the
Yeah,
doctor.
they
I've
get-
got a lot to say about this
We
facility.
should say that like there's been no sort of like hint of monsters yet. There's like you can see like little like sheets
Well,
of paper.
There's been sheets of
Lying
paper in
about.
the ground, and me and
The
Amber.
camera kept comedy cutting. to
Comedy
them,
like ominously cut into these pieces of paper, and we were laughing. We're like, is it going to be a piece of paper? Is a threatening piece of paper going to be
so we get to the facility and then there's finally some bad robot dudes, which I can say
They just
almost
jump
nothing
cut in.
about because it's just jump cut in and they're just vague bad robot dudes that were inactive at first, if I remember correctly.
They were inactive, and then the evil racer man shot one of them,
Yeah,
and then
and
he
then
got shot by one of them, and that activated them. And then the facility itself is like a science facility.
It looked like a desert-y, like it had like sweeping staircases.
Sweeping staircases, very beige. They got there was like tripwires as well, I want to say, that maybe have first of all activated
Yeah.
them, but then they had to be shot to be activated. And then the Doctor has this running thing throughout the episode where she's like, "Where's all the life on this planet? What happened to all the life?" And I was just screaming at the screen, maybe it was the flesh-eating microbes in the water. Like, you established that 5 minutes in. Maybe it was something to do with the flesh-eating microbes in the water. In this desert planet.
Oh, we kept talking about how toxic it was and stuff.
Yeah.
Our heroes seemed completely fine.
Yeah, well, our heroes seemed fine, and normally you could chalk that up to being like, maybe the TARDIS protected them, because you can say that about like anything. And like the
Well,
man,
there wasn't the TARDIS. Oh, I forgot one
Yeah.
dumb thing.
Go on.
The dumbest thing. They had like speech implants so they could talk
Oh,
to the
yeah.
alien, and it was like yet again they used like implants under the skin, except this time it was behind their
The neck.
necks instead of like in their like
well,
collarbone. And like Bradley Walsh was all like yet more implant. So I'm like
yet more implants
It's
without my
just-
knowledge. I feel like they covered it with Bradley Walsh
They
making a
did.
joke about it.
No, but I feel like they might. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. On this, I think that joke might have been added later.
Right. Right. Do you think there's a lot of that?
Which makes me think that like that's just some like trope that Chibnall uses, and at one point he was like, "Oh, I've used this 2 episodes in a row.
I need to comment." Yeah.
About how I'm using this.
Yeah, there was a lot of editing like that where it could have been the case. The facility they get to is a target practice facility for these droids.
Yeah.
And
we know it's a target because like Bradley Walsh repeated it like twice. He said like the doctor said like, "Oh, everything here is a target," and then Bradley Walsh was like, "Yeah, and they're human shaped." It's like I get it, Bradley Walsh.
Yeah, he's there to explain to the granddads
Yeah.
though. Like he is their audience surrogate.
It just felt like some bad editing.
It did. I liked the design of the droids. They had like hoods,
Yeah.
and they were kind of like digital camo or whatever on them. They're not really any kind of focus of the episode at all. They're there, and then they lead into the worst bit of the episode, where Ryan, who has aggressive dyspraxia, is like, "No, we've got to deal with these. I'm going to pick up one of their guns, and I've trained all my life for this. Call of Duty, yeah." And then some like terrible metal plays as he like runs out and like screaming, like just shoots like the droids.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe what I was seeing when
It
that
was
happened.
Very. I don't know. Was it meant to be? I guess it was meant to be funny.
It became funny when he was like screaming and running away, and that I wouldn't say that saved that moment, but it's one of the worst moments of Doctor I've seen in a while, where he just said "Call of Duty, yeah," and just went out and like I have to remind you, he has aggressive dyspraxia,
Yeah,
and the episode will remind you later that he has aggressive dyspraxia when he is like a little bit upset about climbing a ladder, but he's okay running about. Someone was saying no scoping droids. And to be fair, the droids weren't putting up any kind of like resistance.
They were, like comedy droids.
And like the Doctor had a whole thing about like, no, don't do that. I don't use guns. Guns are bad. Like she's Batman.
Yeah.
Like she's like, this is the weapon of the coward.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, guns are bad, like weapon," and then she just goes and sets off a random EMP.
She sets up her EMP to emphasize that it's, oh no, you have to use your brains.
Yeah, but like as if an EMP wasn't like a weapon.
I know, but like that and like. It's a laser gun, and he's shooting robots. Like it's fine. Like
Yeah.
I'm not robot racist or anything, but it's not like they're robot people. They're just like drone robots, and he's just like lasering them down, and he's doing pretty well until he couldn't reload. And if the Doctor had told him how to reload, he probably would have just dealt with all those robots.
Yeah,
Like-
so like they deal with the robots and then they go like they kind of explore the space for a
They
bit, and then
explore
they
the
find
base.
these tunnels which are like passageways to the end of the race. Basically.
Well, it's like a super civilization
Oh
thing
yeah,
where
doesn't,
these tunnels
doesn't
lead
she, like,
throughout the
scan
planet.
one of the monsters to like get like a map or something?
She picks a droid and she's like, not only because we didn't destroy them with laser fire, we can like take their map because
Yeah.
most droids have like maps in them, and that's fine. I feel like if you really, 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 really hate Doctor Who for overusing the sonic screwdriver, you'll hate this episode.
Oh yeah, there's
Because
a lot.
it didn't bother me, but I noticed every time she just kind of waved the sonic at stuff, and I think I'm fine with that with the Doctor, but I know that's like a sticking point for like. I know Terry Pratchett hated that. I remember him being on like GMTV and talking about how he didn't like Doctor Who because it's just a wave a magic wand and solve the problem show. That stuck in my mind. But aye, that happened, and then they went into these tunnels. And there was a bit we were watching where my girlfriend remarked that the Doctor saw a big door, and she was like, "Oh, a big door! Like this is like I'm always love a big door." And then the episode itself didn't show you the big door, like it was just off screen. And I'm pretty sure they were just wandering about a green screen anyway, so they could have showed you the door. But like that was kind of the tone of the episode, was that they were telling you that things were happening, like they weren't showing you anything. It was kind of like an audio play in that regard. They were just expositing.
Yeah, there's so much exposition dialogue, but we're just explaining everything that was happening.
And that can be done well, but I don't think it was being done well last night.
It wasn't a complicated plot either. Like,
No,
it didn't
no.
feel like it needed it, and the whole there wasn't like none of the jokes landed particularly well. I don't think
They landed well enough for me to be like vaguely fine with them, but nothing
Yeah.
made me like laugh out loud,
Like-
other than like the cringiness of it.
Yeah.
Like
it's
the-
weird because like I feel like last week was a lot better on that. It's almost like they didn't put as much effort into it, which obviously you're not. But
Well, I was surprised to learn it was both of them were Chibnall. Like I don't hold Chibnall to that high regard as a Doctor Who writer, but the one last week, the Woman Who Fell to Earth, felt pacier and much better written, and this one, like, you can get away with it being like a standard Doctor Who sci-fi thing, like on a quarry, but it kind of feels like to justify their existence, they need to be doing a wee bit better. Like there's nothing that you would recommend this episode for. You'd basically just say skip it.
yeah, so we kind of get to like one of the very few things that makes this episode interesting, because we find out that like one of our two competitors in this race was trying to save their family from the Stenza.
The Stenza, yes. The blue teeth people, Tim Shaw.
They got a call out, and then Bradley Walsh was like, those aliens from Sheffield.
Yeah, the aliens from Sheffield.
To remind the normal audience that wouldn't have remembered that.
That is his function, and he is doing it quite well. Like, I can't fault him for being like...
Even it helped me, because like they said the name, and I was like, was that the people from last week? And then
when they said that, I was like, is that the like ball, the tentacle ball from last week? Is that what that was called? The Sten? No, it was the tooth-faced race.
Tooth-faced race.
Yeah.
They're apparently going about the galaxy, killing folk.
We have a listener question. We should just cut in right now, because this listener question relates directly to this. I don't know if you've got it on your screen, but I believe I can paraphrase. It was James from Dundee writes in to ask, do you think Chibnall's trying to make the Stenza the new big genocidal universal enemy for the Doctor, other than the Daleks this series?
I think so, yeah.
Do you think the Stenza, the teeth people, are going to be the big bad?
I think that's what they were pretty clearly telegraphing with that scene.
Do you think they'll be doing it every episode? Because I wouldn't have done it immediately in episode 2 if I wasn't going to do it every episode.
That's why I'm kind of surprised they did do it in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting, I wasn't believing them when they said there was going to be like no recurring plot. Like, we don't know how strong it's going to be, but I could have told you last episode.
You were saying that there was going to be no return. Yes. Like, that guy didn't die.
Yeah.
Despite having 5 DNA bombs in him and despite his face melting off.
Yeah.
He teleported away, he's fine.
No returning monsters from the previous series.
And you were saying that people were saying, or the production people were saying that there wasn't going to be a through line, there wasn't going to be an overarching plot. It was just
I don't know if they had ever said that. I think people either assumed that, or like they said it's 10 standalone episodes.
Yeah.
Technically
it is, but it's got like it's got stuff we'll get to in a minute, but like the Stenza came up first, and it was like the Stenza built this facility, or they captured scientists from around the galaxy.
Scientists that were doing science.
Now,
like,
I have to cut in here with one of my biases and say that that's a literal Kamen Rider plot, and that the villains from Kamen Rider's main MO is capturing science slaves to do science work for them. And when Doctor Who was saying that last night, I was laughing quite a lot.
Yeah, we find out. We already found out that the planet was called Desolation, yeah.
Yes, they say that at the start. And I thought it was going to be a cowboy thing. It's like, oh, the planet's called Desolation.
But yeah, we find out that there was like this facility had scientists doing lots of science, but then the Stenza killed them all, and then they wrote it all down on the floor.
Well, they weren't just doing science.
We had time to write it all down on the floor.
There's a Red Dwarf joke about that where someone writes like their last message in their entrails, and there's like it's like, oh, how did they have time to do the full stop at the end? And it's like a kidney or something that just plopped out. They weren't just doing science. The Stenza, who I'll have to keep saying to remind me that that's their name. The Blue Feast.
We never saw any of them in this episode.
No, which was fine. Yeah. Like that's just they're setting stuff up. That's like nice world building. It's weird that it's about the tooth-faced people, but I guess that's what they're trying to push as the new villain. They weren't just doing science for them, the science slaves. They were making weapons, and they were the reason the water had microbes in it, and why it was like a desert planet, and why civilization had collapsed is because the weapons they were deving were so terrible that they ruined the planet. And then, did the Stenza themselves kill the scientists, or was the implication that the scientists killed themselves?
I think the implication was that the Stenza killed the scientists.
Well, they were coming, is the last thing the message said, and then it just ended. So, is it that they just, committed suicide at the end there to, like... That's a wee bit dark for Doctor Who.
The Stenza weapons of mass destruction, says my plot synopsis.
Okay. The Stenza. Like, maybe it'll be fine. Maybe we'll get to a point where we're like, oh yes, credible threat, the Stenza.
And then after this we get to the weirdest part of this episode where like all the dead people were like cleaned up by like these cloth creatures. Either cloth or paper. I couldn't really tell.
They looked horrible. Like the CGI on them.
The CG was bad. They weren't they were meant to be threatening, but like
they were meant to be threatening.
They were just
I saw someone on Twitter saying they'd probably look better if they actually just used 4 pieces of cloth held up on strings.
Yeah, like the string would have made it look better, right? Because they had like this sort of like wavy, like just like.
I thought they were, because at one point in the episode, the bad racer man, has been shot and he's like cleaning himself up, and they established that the paper is like looking after the dead or like clearing it away by like wrapping around them. I thought they were just gonna like wrap him up and then he'd be like a mummy monster, because you know how they went for it last week with the guy in the rubber suit.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do that again, and that was how they were gonna justify paper people. But no, they just had these bits of paper floating about. And normally I'm okay with it, but it looked really bad. Like it was like I like a terrible monster, but it wasn't great, and it was made worse by the fact
that dumb trope about kids hiding behind the sofa. No,
No,
kid would have been
no.
hiding behind the sofa.
Like I know that Doctor Who wants to make you afraid of everything, like they made you afraid of like monuments moving and stuff,
Yeah.
and like they're trying like maybe trying to like get more of that with trying to make you afraid of paper. I can't remember if it was me or someone else that said, but it's like literally psychic paper as well. Because like the paper was floating about, and it wasn't just like floating about going, "Ooh, we're paper." It was floating about and talking to the cast, and specifically talking to the Doctor because it was alive, and it was basically doing the Bad Wolf arc
Yep.
from
They
Russell T
mentioned
Davies.
Something called the Timeless Child.
The Timeless Child.
Which the Doctor didn't know about.
The Doctor didn't know
She was
about,
very confused about it.
which I think is weird because like they were doing the Bad Wolf thing where they were setting up recurring stuff and like, oh, come back next time. What's this myth thing gonna be? And it was very like Prisoner Zero from the 11th Hour,
Yeah.
because the Prisoner Zero has a whole thing about like, oh, the Doctor doesn't know like about the cracks or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it was. I can't even remember, but it's vaguely excusable with Prisoner Zero because you don't know when in time Prisoner Zero is from because she
Yeah.
came through a crack. Are the psychic paper from the future? Are they from a
Are they like sentient across the entire
Like, do they-
all of the paper across all of the universe?
Because there was
Like,
two things. It made it seem.
Was this like where psychic paper comes from?
Yeah, like if they get into that, that would be great. But I don't
there's
think.
no hint of that one. No psychic paper so far.
No, but like they do a
Which,
thing.
you know, maybe for the best. But
I like psychic paper.
I
It's
do.
it's a good.
Yeah.
Like it's a get out of jail free for like we only have 45 minutes to do this episode.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't keep getting imprisoned
yeah.
like an old Doctor Who. But the psychic paper had two things where it was like saying like ooh future stuff, but how could it know other unless the Doctor herself knows? But it specifically said the Doctor doesn't know. Because if it was just psychic, it was reading the Doctor's brain, and it kind of looked like that for a little bit of the conversation, but then it went into like, here's stuff that's coming up that you don't know about. I feel like I can't remember what the actual dialogue was. I don't know if you have it there,
No.
but it said "Timeless Child," which everyone kind of jumped on to be like on Twitter anyway. They jumped on to be like maybe it's a Susan thing
Yeah.
because like you know she's like the unearthly child, and like that's you're using same kind of words and. Hopefully it's something new, but
I think it would be something new.
but like, if it is something new, you gotta do. That's the thing. It's a balance. You have to do something new, but also like, why do I care? Like, I'm watching Doctor Who. I kind of want it to relate to at least something.
They're bringing back Jenny.
If they brought back Jenny, I know Jenny's well up for being in Doctor Who because she's doing Big Finish stuff now, and she's like always retweeting Doctor Who magazine when they have like covers and stuff. So the actress, seems to be well up for that. I don't know if Chibnall's the man to bring back Jenny. Moffat could have.
Moffat was the one who requested that she stay alive.
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe it's Jenny. That would be really disappointing if it's Jenny. No disrespect to the character of Jenny,
I don't
but
think that'll be Jenny.
no. The other thing, I feel like.
I'm glad that there's a hint of like a running through plot.
Oh yes.
Because
But I did not
Really
expect.
needs it, but I don't think it was particularly strong.
I didn't expect it to be delivered by psychic paper
It was, like,
or in the way that it
I
was.
think that's why the crack was really cool because it was like visual and it looked
Mhm.
awesome. And like there's also like Bad Wolf which was visual, but like we didn't even like Bad Wolf if I remember correctly was literally never mentioned up until it happened. Like it was in the background of some.
It was there
but-
was a lot of things where like the helicopter in Dalek was called Bad Wolf
Yeah.
1, and like it was the Bad Wolf station, and
Yeah.
like Bad Wolf was like a location and stuff like that. I like that. I guess is that how Buffy did it? Because like a lot of like
Yeah.
New Who's Buffy.
I think yeah.
But,
you got a lot of influence from Buffy.
Yeah, that's fine. But like, I wasn't expecting that level of RTD-ness to turn up.
No.
Like I didn't, because they didn't do it in episode 1, so I was like, all right, they're just not going to do it because episode 1's the place to do that if you're going to go that big into that dumbness. But then this psychic paper just delivers it. And the other thing, I feel like, did it mention the other? Because like the other is like a deep lore Virgin Novels cut.
I don't.
Where like it's the whole thing about the Doctor isn't just a Time Lord; he's this special reincarnation of one of the ancient Time Lords. Like, I feel like it said something along those lines. I bet it is nothing to do with that,
Probably.
but it was so tantalizingly close to that.
We'll look at the dialogue. And
Yeah.
We'll follow up next week.
But that happened, and then they dealt with the
Then the
paper.
episode just flops to its conclusion because
Well, they set up that the evil racer man loves his Sakaar. He has a cigar.
I quite like the solution to the problem of the surrounding cloths. You mentioned that there was acetylacetylene, and Ryan knew about it because of his MVQ.
Yep.
He seemed to learn a lot from his MVQ. Also, he climbed a ladder.
He did climb a ladder.
In spite of his dyspraxia.
And the doctor had a horrible, like, oh, you're doing so well.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're really good for having dyspraxia, but being out. Like, Kate didn't come off well at all.
It didn't.
It was very patronising. But the episode kind of has a conclusion because the paper was threatening them.
They find the tent, yeah.
They had the papers threatening them, and they deal with it because the bad man had a cigar that he was saving until the end of the race. And it was a self-lighting one when he clicked it. And then when he said that earlier in the episode, I assumed the doctor was just going to click her fingers and it would ignite and they'd use it. But no, they were doing their like tropes and their screenwriting 101. They set their thing up and then they used it to deal with the enemy paper.
Yeah.
And like,
it was a better solution to the enemy problem than last week, so I'll give it that.
I guess, yeah, she didn't just wave the psychic paper, but there's the sonic screwdriver. Yeah, there was a lot of Sonic in the episode prior to it, though.
It was sciencey, though, because like, you had to dig, and because the gas was like lighter.
It felt very like Hartnell era. We're an educational program, and we're teaching you about gases and what not to do with gases.
First year chemistry.
Yeah, that was fine. It was weird because they just lay on the ground while like the gas exploded above them.
Which would have hurt them.
Like just being near the heat. Like why it isn't just going down onto them, I don't know. But
they didn't dig in the dirt that much. Anyways.
Did he even dig? Did I look away when they were talking about digging? Because I just...
Well, the doctor looked at them and said dig.
Right.
Another one of the weird dialogue bits where like she was
I did not see that at all. Like I might have just been talking over it, but it just looked like they laid down while fire happened.
Yeah, so they kill the cloths, they find the tent again, and then I don't really know what happens because like we say, oh, you did it. They eventually agree to like win together.
Well, the bad man and the woman who are trying to win the race for opposite reasons. They, for some reason, and I don't think it's very like conveyed well in the plot, but they're like, no, you should stop fighting and just team up because the woman who hadn't been shot.
Like some of this happened off screen.
Well, the guy couldn't just win because he'd been shot and he couldn't outrace the woman to the tent. And then the doctor was like, stop fighting, yous two. You know, there's a way to get around this. And then, like, that's my doctor accent. They turn up into the tent, and the bad man, the bad man of the race, who's a race man, he was like, oh no, who won? Like, and they're like, no, we're holding hands. It's a joint win.
And like, no, you can't
joint win because there's never been a joint winner of the space race before. And if I was him, if I was an evil like. Why I don't know why I would care if there was a joint winner, really, because I'm still giving them the same amount of money, and this is the last race of his race, and he could just say, yeah, it's a unique last win. That seems like a bigger headline than just having some guy win.
And then they threaten harm, and then the whole thing's just solved, and he teleports them off the planet.
Well, yeah,
just like the damp squib of the race plot.
The race plot.
Just
he didn't want to give
bad.
him. I agree with you, but I kind of like a little bit of the teleporter plot because the bad man was like, no, you will let us joint win because like if you don't, I'll hunt you down. Like I have a particular set of skills and I'll hunt you down and like cause you pain. And it's like, why would this guy be afraid of this guy that he's a marine? Like he's clearly like he's
probably gonna die.
Yeah, he's like clearly like a space regent guy who's probably got armies and at least like space mafias.
Yeah,
like he's probably gonna be fine. And then like. He teleports the winners, the race people off the planet, but he's like, oh, but not the TARDIS crew. And I quite like that little scene where he was just like, oh, they were like, oh, teleport us as well. And he's just like, no, and just like clicks his fingers and they're gone.
Yeah, the tent's gone.
That was one of the best moments of the episode for me.
Yeah.
It was little, but I liked it.
I thought it was kind of weirdly edited, that plot resolution.
Oh, aye. But like specifically just that tiny little bit of dialogue where he just kind of scoffs and goes, no, and just teleports away.
And then the doctor just like gives up. Like,
the doctor does give up, which I...
Of all the like lame plots to give up on, like this one, like she knew
the doctor will be fine as well. The doctor will just keep on living until like 1,000 years later when the TARDIS comes back.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't help you.
We have to say that we probably should have said at the start, the ghost monument in the title refers to the TARDIS,
it does.
Which has been phasing in and out of existence every 1,000 years on this planet on a mountain, and that's where the race has to get to because it's a space landmark because of the TARDIS. And they get there and it's not there, and the doctor just gives up. And I didn't enjoy any of that, but I kind of like that they're not going God mode doctor route of Matt Smith. because I like Matt Smith and I like his "I am the Doctor" speeches and like that music that plays, but that kind of
that music that was called
"I am the Doctor." Like if this was a Matt Smith episode, he would just say "I am the Doctor." That music.
The TARDIS, and then the TARDIS would appear.
Yeah.
But in this case, she just kind of sulks, and then the TARDIS appears.
She sulks, but the team consoles her, and like Bradley Walsh is the one to be like, "Come on, Doctor, didn't give up. Like we're a team, and we'll get through this." I kind of like that they're making it more of a team thing, where like the Doctor didn't necessarily have it within herself to keep going herself. She needed those other characters to put in.
Her best friends.
Yeah,
She keeps calling them.
her best her fam, as she called them in episode 1. I thought that wasn't. I didn't think it was good, but I like that they're kind of going that route with it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come to the meat of this podcast because the TARDIS rocks up.
It does.
She kind of wishes it back into existence with the Sonic, which
seems like it.
Which I think's fine
You
because
didn't explain it, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We know that the Doctor is uniquely tuned to the TARDIS.
Yeah, it's like a psych thing, and the TARDIS is a person. Like we know that from like.
They love each other.
Yeah. It's fine. She makes a joke about come to daddy, and then she's like, "Wait, mummy." Like they're acknowledging that they've done like a gender swap. Like I thought that was all right. The TARDIS itself. What did you think of the TARDIS redesign? Start at the outside, because
I don't like the fact that the letters are just on the door as opposed to being on like a white panel.
Wasn't
like,
it?
It's fine, but it just seems like weird.
Isn't
it's
it
back to being sort of like wooded blue of like the Tennant era.
The Doctor Who editor, the ex-Doctor Who editor, who is madly into TARDISes, was saying that it's the 1970 to 1976 version of the TARDIS, which is the Pertwee TARDIS, which is an odd choice. Like
I feel like the police box signage was like a bit darker. I can't remember.
Well, when it turned up, it was all yellow because it was like silhouetted in the tri-suns of the planet, and I was like, it's yellow because this series is yellow themed.
Yeah.
And then it's just the TARDIS, and
so then they go in, and then the weirdest part, like the entrance bits, that like. The part where there should be like just the police box space is like fully there.
It's fully there.
Normally the door just goes straight into the spaceship, but this was like a little cube.
It's a space. It's a police box sized bit of it.
Yeah. But you can see the other two doors.
You could say it's like a tunnel between the outside and the actual bit of the TARDIS.
I don't think any TARDIS ever had that before.
I don't know. I'm not that into TARDIS design. They've had like the big foam doors that like flop open, like when they go like that. Iconic noise. I think that it ruins the magic of the TARDIS. Because it's not just that there's a police box. There's not just a world inside the police box now. There's a world directly behind the police box.
Doesn't work as well when there is that space. Like I know it's still bigger inside.
It feels like it misses the point of the joke.
Yeah,
like
it misses the magic a little bit.
Because it's just like it's like a connector. It's like a set cut off. It just. I suppose you could have. See if there was doors. I didn't know if it made it clear. See if there's doors in the inside bit of the TARDIS where the fourth wall of the. If they could close them and make it look like it's still.
Look like there was.
Because you could use that as like camo. You could still have the front door of the TARDIS open and people could look in and it would just be a police box. But that seems like a very specific thing that you've not needed for 50 years. So why would you add that now? And then you get into the TARDIS itself.
And it's like, considering we've been talking about how like yellow and how like brightly coloured.
I was expecting it to be very yellow.
It's really quite like metally and gloomy inside.
Yeah, like
the lighting was not great, and I didn't like the wall pattern. It just looked like metal and like a weird. Like considering that, I feel like for the tone of this series, it doesn't look very great.
It does nothing.
I have only seen 2 episodes.
Yeah,
It was like 2 minutes, and like there was like the graphic design of like the yellow sort of shards everywhere that's on her. I guess like the TARDIS knew that that's what the new Sonic looked like.
Yeah, like there's questions to ask there.
Change its desktop theme to look vaguely like that, but like it doesn't. Admittedly, we've only seen like a minute of it.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, it didn't work because.
As a big reveal, it didn't work.
As a big reveal, it didn't work. The walls were too dark.
Mm-hmm.
The middle of the TARDIS is overlit.
Yep.
But it still comes across as gloomy. Like the control panel, sort of like surrounded by like the yellow shards, which like seem like it just block shots.
Well, in the middle,
I don't know how they're gonna handle it.
The TARDIS console.
The TARDIS, you want like flowing spaces. You want the Doctor to be like whizzing about.
Yeah,
weird camera angles. I don't know how they're going to do that with this, because there's going to be like 4 of them in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And it just seems like if you're pointing the camera any one which way.
Well, as we know from Journey's End, the TARDIS requires like 18 people to crew it, so maybe we'll see a lot.
That wouldn't be possible with this TARDIS, because you'd all be surrounded by those yellow shards.
I haven't looked at it since last night's episode, but in my memory, it kind of looked like there'd been a fire in the TARDIS, and everything had been like charred and burnt and just not cleaned up. And in the middle, there's a big kind of crystal column that I don't think moves up and down. Like, it didn't move up and down. It was only there for like a couple seconds, so maybe it will move up and down next episode. But I need the middle of the TARDIS to move up and down and go like to do that thing.
Yeah, and it was like weirdly low key as well, because like
which I
like,
guess
I remember like the introduction of Matt Smith's TARDIS was like fantastic. Like, it had like
it's a bit wacky. It's a bit like I know you really like Matt Smith's first one, but I kind of find it a bit kind of kind of wacky contraption-y kind of. Oh, aye, absolutely. It definitely does.
They can do a lot of stuff with that TARDIS. Like, they can do a lot of scenes in that TARDIS because it's got 2 levels. Like, they can do a lot of stuff in it.
Absolutely. This one, you only go. Like, it's hard to say because as a big reveal, it doesn't work, and we only got to see like 2 minutes or even that.
I did quite like the one line about where they finally said that it time travels as well.
Yeah.
That was pretty good because they hadn't shown us that it was their spaceship.
They got that in
time
there.
Travels. That was the best part of that scene.
I liked.
And I didn't really like the control panel. It seemed like it had nothing to it. And then like for this remarkably non-quirky TARDIS, it's got a weird feature where it ejects custard cream.
That's the thing, and that's the thing I don't like. I like that it ejects custard creams. I just don't like that people can use that to justify that it's good. Because that's all I've seen on Twitter is like, oh, it ejects custard cream, it's best TARDIS. And it's like, did you look at it though? Did you see anything about it?
There's nothing to it other than the fact that it ejects custard cream.
Also, I'm a bourbon cream man, so you're not getting any love from me.
Like, this is why that Matt Smith TARDIS, because that would have had the custard cream dispenser probably also, but there were so many features on that TARDIS that is not even worth mentioning.
I laughed at the custard creams because custard creams are yellow, so they're continuing the theme in there. They've not got roundels, they've got hexagons in the shape, I guess, of roundels. That's not good enough. Like, I like hexagons, and they're trying to buy me off with hexagons, but you should have roundels. Do you know the 60s TARDIS with its like roundels wallpaper?
Yeah.
I want that. Like, and also, I think the worst thing you can say about the TARDIS is that it feels quite small.
It did feel quite small, considering the size of their cast. Like, it's easily the smallest TARDIS since it might even be smaller than RTD's first one.
That is quite small. Watching it back on Netflix in HD, it looks quite small.
I'll need to sort of like.
Maybe it's big.
Again,
Maybe next episode will have like half an hour in the TARDIS and it'll be sprawling in like the secondary control room, and they'll go to the pool and like. Oh, they'll.
Do you make like Matt Smith's TARDIS? They had like 3 levels to fill on because there was like the entrance level.
There was a level above it, wasn't there?
There was the control panel level, and then there was like all the wires underneath.
You spent a lot of time under that TARDIS,
There's a lot of places where they could film scenes, and like even on like RTD's TARDIS, they had like lots of like swooping shots and like. They made that space seem bigger than it was.
Again, it's hard to speculate.
I guess they're not going to be in it a lot.
That's what I was going to say. Like, maybe it's a cost-cutting measure, and they've only got like half a studio or whatever to film a TARDIS in, so they've made this wee one. I think it looks good as a thing, but not necessarily as a TARDIS.
Yeah,
like I like the design elements. You get a picture of it up and just like.
Considering like how cool the like visual design of this series generally is, I think TARDIS is a little bit of a disappointment.
I think we can only say that. I think we can only say it's a disappointment in terms of as a reveal, because well, maybe next episode like it'll have stuff to it.
The internet, see Doctor Who fans in tears at Jodie Whittaker's new TARDIS.
I just don't.
If you think that's
it's like black and yellow and steel, Sheffield steel, I guess.
Sheffield steel, yeah. The TARDIS just went to.
I was let down by it, but again, I'm at this point in my life where I'm not angry at it. Like it's not like cut me deeply that it's not a great TARDIS design or whatever. Like I'm not going to lose sleep.
Yeah, like that's it there. Like there's some like.
Let's have a peek.
Little like blue spotlights and.
See that looks bigger than it does in my memory. Have a wee peek.
That picture's actually nicer than my memory of it.
Yeah.
My memory is mainly that big grey wall that none of us like.
Looking at it now, like the pillars aren't quite as close to the. Like,
it might just be the way they're filming it,
but it still feels like.
It still feels like a small space
for like levels. Like there's no like. I don't get what they're gonna.
And like the hexagon, I like the kind of broken hexagon look to it, but I just don't particularly like. And they've got the shot of the custard cream dispenser because that's the meme, I guess. Also, one custard cream at a time. Are you a monster? Like you can't do that. It feels like why wouldn't it have like a tea dispenser as well? Like it seems
Probably Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire. I don't like the walls are black. It kind of feels like a
The wa-
master
I
TARDIS.
think the walls are the worst part to me. Like,
Mm.
the walls need some lighting. Like the walls are really disappointing.
Yeah. I like the crystalness of it because I like crystals.
Yeah.
And I like that it ties into like Sonic, and that's very toyetic, and you can do stuff with like the play set for this TARDIS will be probably very good, but because like this episode isn't very good, and then the thing that people will remember it for is the TARDIS bit at the end, and then that wasn't pretty good. So as like an episode overall,
It was like a 5, 6 out of 10.
5, 6, 8,
That
really?
sounds about right. Would you?
Oh, no,
Would
I'd
you go
say
lower?
like I'd go
4?
3.
Oof.
Like there was bits I liked, but it might just be like 3 little bits that I liked. When he scoffed.
Like, look at the size of that TARDIS.
That is a good looking TARDIS, that Matt Smith early one.
Like, just great.
It's
great TARDIS.
that sells kind of the more kind of future tech vibe of it as well.
Yeah.
And we are saying that with like how many nearly 10 years of Matt Smith in our brains, so it's not fair to compare.
Oh, well, I remember just thinking of that. Like, I remember seeing it for the first. Because also, you hadn't seen the TARDIS before the show aired.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I think like the only hint that we had of it before the series that Matt Smith's first series aired is they had done like there was a time where like they showed like they had like a cardboard cutout of like a corner of the interior like
right inside the TARDIS.
inside of the TARDIS
Right.
for like set purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the closest hint we had got.
Again, this is a telling fact that we are now 50 minutes in and we've not really talked about the Doctor all that much.
She really like she spent a lot of the episode going, "This planet, I don't understand it."
I don't understand this planet. Yeah,
And then
you got a better one than me.
It wasn't great. I feel like the Doctor didn't have a lot to do in this episode. Like I said, there's like a good little bit where she got vaguely angry at the male racer.
Angry man, bad race
There's
man.
a little bit of hint at something more to her character there, but she was still like.
Well, she got a line of dialogue that was good, but questionable because she mentioned Nusian Aikido.
Yeah.
Big John Pertwee's signature martial art, and she mentioned being like a 12th level master or something, and it's like a pacifist like form of combat. She's still into like throwing guys about then, like she's still into like karate chopping her way through foes. She's just a pacifist. I don't like that when the Doctor like is stressed to be a pacifist because he's not like
No.
the Doctor will genocide your race.
And has.
And will again. Like I don't quite like the extent they go to into that, but that is all he can do. And then I can't really nail down because last episode we were talking about how it's the first episode and you can't really get a feel for the Doctor. You don't really know what she's about or what her character is or like what her traits are.
And it still kind of feel like
It
that.
still kind of feel like that now, and that's probably fine. But I don't want to be saying that every episode.
Yeah.
One of the issues was that the sort of main character builds in line. There's a line of dialogue where she says, "Oh, did I mention I am really smart?"
Yeah.
It kind of fell foul of that show don't tell problem that you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Thing with the door.
Well, like the Doctor should know better than to say that because they said that when he was David Tennant to like a bus full of people, and then they tried to kill him because he said that. Like, and I know Matt Smith got away with it by being "I am the Doctor" and whatnot. "I am the Doctor" is a better way of saying I'm really smart.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I want to like her, but she's not really done anything yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like she hasn't had last week's. I feel like she hasn't had like a really like meaty like Doctor script.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like-
Agreed.
Give her a Heaven Sent,
Yeah,
and then we'll see.
her just
One of the issues with last night's episode is that the script couldn't really be meaty for anyone because we had our 2 space racers.
Yep.
We had our 3 sidekicks that we barely knew. We had a new Doctor. That is so much establishing to do in an hour. So it ends up feeling a little bit more nothingy.
Not
That was
even
kind
an
of
hour, 50 minutes.
That was kind of the problem of 80s Who's because they had big TARDIS crews back then, and then they haven't done it since because that's the problem. Because you can't, even in like 4 25-minute segments, you're
Yeah.
still having to find stuff for people to do, or not enough for people to do because it's a show about the Doctor.
That's why I can hope some of the future episodes maybe they don't have all the companions.
Yeah.
And they can go.
I can probably see. I don't know. Speculating. I can kind of see Yaz and Ryan not surviving the series. Maybe not dying, but maybe not going on to be in the next season.
Yeah.
Because people like Bradley Walsh. You'll keep Bradley Walsh,
also,
but
one thing, I guess they've kind of resolved it now
Mm.
with they know that it's a time machine. But it's kind of annoying me that Yaz has been like, I have a job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in fucking. What am I supposed to do? She didn't know about the time travel, which was seemingly totally okay.
Yeah.
With having been taken away.
Well, I suppose when you're on an alien planet, you're just like, well, I'm on an alien planet now. I'll explain that to my boss when I get back.
Yeah.
If I get back. Here comes
I
sweet
suppose,
death.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's especially weird considering that all we know about her character so far is that she's a police officer. Like, that's her one thing.
Yeah.
That's her one character trait.
It
And
doesn't feel like Amy and Rory, where Amy and Rory, you liked Amy from the start because Amy was a good character and she had a lot to her, and then maybe you didn't like Rory because he seemed quite dweebish or whatever.
Yeah.
But they gave Rory a hell of a lot to do by the end of that series. Things happened to him,
Yeah,
and he changed as a character.
When we didn't even obviously your sort of initial assumption was when you see Amy's wedding dress that Rory's going to be awful or bad.
Yeah.
No, he's not at all.
No,
he's a
and
cool guy.
The way they treat Rory in that series is that he's not there in the first few episodes, and then they get him, and then it's paced well for him. I can't really see.
It worked really well because they had 3 or 4 episodes to set up the Doctor and Amy relationship.
Unless the writing changes dramatically, I can't see any of the companions really changing that much in ways that you can't already predict.
Yeah,
By the end of the series,
maybe
maybe
calling him Grandad.
he will. By the end of the series, he'll either call him Grandad and he'll die of cancer, or he'll call him Grandad and he won't die of cancer. That's the only options you got from there. And I guess Yaz will learn to be a better policewoman, but she's already a good policewoman, so
The thing is, I feel like the male characters, so far at least, are a lot more developed than the female characters are, which is worrying.
Yeah.
Considering that we've got a female Doctor.
It's probably because they've given some things for Ryan to do. He has dyspraxia, we know that.
He's got an MBQ.
He's got an MBQ, and he had a horrible Call of Duty scene. And then
There does seem to be a
Right.
conscious effort to working classify the companions.
yeah, and Bradley Walsh is developed because we know him as Bradley Walsh. We're filling in all the gaps of Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do any work. When he says something, we're like, oh, hi, Bradley Walsh.
Because all of Moffat's Who companions were gloriously middle class.
Well,
Bella was old, but she went to uni.
she did go. Well, she worked at uni.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, she was like a dinner lady. At
She's a dinner lady,
university.
and then the doctor was like, "No, come to my classes because I'm the doctor and I'm a madcap
Yeah, I
professor."
forget that about Belle.
Yeah.
Bill was a good character.
I mean, I guess that's exactly what bloody Clara is, and that's another contributing reason why she's terrible.
Well, Clara was if I remember, she was like
Clara's a teacher. Let's never forget that Clara's a teacher. She teaches, and that's one of her character traits. She teaches, and then I don't know what she does when she's not teaching or being with the doctor, because those are the two things that she does.
If I remember, in her first series, she wasn't actually a teacher.
What was she in her first series?
I don't even know.
Because she's definitely a teacher by Capaldi's time. Is she a teacher? No, she's a teacher. She has a teacher, because
I watched an episode the other
I
day
want
when
to
she
say
was definitely a teacher.
no, she is a teacher, but I want to say the only announced it was that she was a teacher in The Day of the Doctor.
the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Alright,
started
okay.
off at Full House School. I feel like they hadn't. Maybe they had mentioned that.
I honestly don't have enough memory to retain knowledge about Clara.
Anyways,
Clara's a bad character. Yes, if you've got questions, we will answer them. Read them out.
Questions.
Throw over to David with listener questions. A little silence there. So it's not real radio, so it's not a buzzer won't go off that the 3-second silence alarm. We put out for listener questions, and if you want to have your listener questions featured on this show, hit me up on Craig's Girthy Toys on Facebook, and we will answer them.
Or
Or Instagram. I've not really been doing much Instagramming. I should probably make a Girthcast page. People get angry when you don't do the toy stuff all the time. You have to do this. You have to stay in your box.
We have some questions from Callum from Ayr.
Callum from Ayr hit us up with 10 questions,
Yeah,
and I feel like we might have answered a few of them just in the meat of the podcast.
We haven't answered this one. Does
Read
the
it.
ergonomic grip on the Dr. Sonic make you think of the Bic pen for her? A little bit, yeah.
It's not pink though.
See
So it's really for
No,
her.
see the bend on that.
I think that both
Sonic,
ends of the
it's-
Sonic look like a penis. Both ends. Different states of a penis.
One of them's too pointy to be a penis.
Well,
Just saying.
you never know really when it comes to
the
penises.
the yellow crystals. That's some you don't want that on you.
That's a very kind of like encrusted penis,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Yeah. I guess I think of it when I think of that. I don't know. I think of the. If you ever saw SG-1, they had like a bendy gun that kind of has like that end bit on it. I think of that when I see the Sonic. I think of when I see it. I honestly think, is this the best they could do? Really? Sheffield Steel. I really like that she forged it with a hammer. She was just in a shed and she made it and it was just like the scene from Iron Man. It's like it was Tony Stark in a.
It's weird that the aesthetic of the Stenza stuff that is now her Doctor's aesthetic.
Yeah, I guess because she took bits from the recall pod, the drop pod.
And, these are supposed to be genocidal maniacs, which I guess the Doctor also is.
Yeah, she feels like a kinship with them.
Yeah.
She won't talk about that, but she does.
Does it instead make you think of the Venus range of women's razor?
Again, yeah.
They're brightly coloured, so yeah.
It's an
I
unfortunate
don't know if
design.
I've seen a yellow Venus razor. Normally they're blue and
I've not really
pink,
looked into them.
She has got it.
It's an unfortunate design for the first female Doctor. It's kind of like an own goal that you put out. A lot of people can make jokes about it looking like a penis. I can just say that because it kind of does. Why would you intentionally make it look like that? And also, I didn't like Capaldi's Sonic. Do you remember Capaldi's Sonic?
No, I don't. That's so forgettable.
Well, he's got a blue one. It's kind of hard to say. It doesn't
He uses Sonic Specs most.
He
of the
does
time.
these in his second series. He gets Sonic Specs. It's his midlife crisis, where he's just been Doctor Disco. He literally says the words Doctor Disco at one point. It's great. I kind of like the Sonic Specs. I kind of thought that she gave Bradley Walsh the Sonic Specs yesterday.
Yeah, but they weren't.
They weren't.
That was a weird because didn't she empty the pockets? I don't know.
Yeah, she said they were Pythagoras' specs or some other celebrity, and I thought it was a good line, but.
Yeah. Free is dyspraxia as debilitating as they seem to think? I don't
as a
have
sufferer of
so I don't
dyspraxia,
know.
I think I can field this question. Yes, but I haven't actually had to deal with any alien type situations yet, so I can't honestly say that I've felt impeded to that degree that Ryan feels.
Can you climb a ladder?
Yes, but not well.
I have to say I have problems with ladders, and I think we actually must be the highest incidence of dyspraxia friend group known to man.
It's the sheer amount of dyspraxia.
Gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do we know with dyspraxia? I feel like
Everyone.
that thread everybody's just, oh yeah,
I've got
that.
dyspraxia. Everyone we know has dyspraxia.
Gallon's quite affected by his handwriting is mad.
Mm-hmm.
And he also has dyslexia, that's factual,
Mhm.
but most people with dyslexia, I don't know if most, but a lot of people with dyslexia also have dyslexia.
I don't think it's as hilariously debilitating as they're making out. See, when he got to that ladder and he was just like, I've got dyspraxia. I know he didn't say that, but that was the tone of the scene.
Yeah, it was gross.
I
I have issues with ladders, I have issues with bikes. Michael can't go a bike at all, I'm a horrible cyclist.
It feels slightly weird in that they're trying to have representation, but I feel like if they keep going with it, then it's gonna go the wrong way.
It feels like they could have done
I think
better.
it's a bit too far. Most of us are not, or we don't notice being affected by our dyspraxia every day because it's normal for us.
Well, I felt the Doctor's. I said this before, but her conversation with Ryan at the ladder felt very patronising. Just very, you've done so well. Didn't come off well
So
at
he's
all.
19, he's not 9, he's old.
Yeah, exactly. He's not a kid, but also they had their cake and ate it because he did shoot robots with a laser
Also,
and he was fine
climb
with
the
it.
ladder off screen.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Uh,
What's the next question?
the next
Does it relate?
question is a bit more.
Because
All that cryptic nonsense about the timeless child, she doesn't know etc. Is that Susan on Earth? It could be.
could be Susan.
I highly doubt it.
I
I'm gonna say there's a low chance of that. My guess is
I
it'll be
thought the
some new
timeless child
thing.
was the Doctor. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be some
I mean,
Doctor
it could
lore.
be. It could be. Yeah, it could be some kid doctor time stream.
Because
doc-
Craig was making that point about how they could only read her brain. So did they see something that they referred to as the timeless
Well,
child?
it'll be
of her
something.
memories?
It'll be something to do with the doctor.
It will, but I think that the Susan stuff. So Susan was the Doctor's granddaughter in the first show. William Hartnell had a granddaughter, and it was Susan, and they never really dived into. Because that was before they had solidified anything. There wasn't any Gallifrey or Time Lords. It was just an old man in a box cutting about with his granddaughter. And then
I mean, it could. Let's remember, Susan got left in an apocalyptic London.
apocalyptic
And,
20
with
something.
no ability to time travel, so
Mhm.
theoretically,
Well, theoretically,
Susan wasn't a child.
Susan was a child.
She was, but she was gonna get married to that dude.
That's a weird 60s plot. She fell in love with that guy that she met in that episode.
I love all this. I love Ian and they're like they have to tell Ian to no.
No,
just
Ian.
back off.
Back
Ian.
off, Ian.
They're
They're lovers now.
lovers now.
I don't know how. Is it Carol Ann Ford? Actually, I don't know how old she was in like '63, but she definitely wasn't like playing her age.
Let's find out.
She has, and to tie this back into Big Finish, she appears in a lot of Big Finish stuff because they've done a lot of like future season work, and I believe Big McGann went and visited
Caroline
her.
Ford would have been 23.
Yeah, so she was 23 when I think
Yeah.
she was playing 15.
Yeah, that's like she was
Because
at school.
she was at school. That's why Ian and Barbara, her teachers, are with them. It's a deep lore cut, right? Mention like it could be Susan or whatever, and like I don't think the tone of the season so far isn't that they're doing deep lore cuts. Maybe there'll be a big like swift change into like no.
It would be like
This is about lore.
It would be a really weird tonal thing because literally at this point, the only people who can remember like Susan as like a Doctor Who companion from the show's airing are very old at this. Like
They're very
we're
old.
approaching old.
I feel like they're approaching old, but it's also like this weird
Like,
thing where people wait.
The people who can remember are probably in their 70s.
Yeah, I feel like the people that can like genuinely remember it, but I feel like it's a weird thing where the general public might remember that he had a granddaughter at some point. Like they've seen those Peter Cushing films where he has like a granddaughter, and like that's kind of bled into like
not canon
Peter Cushing Doctor. Like we should probably watch those films at some point.
Oh,
and
I've
do, like,
never seen them.
You've never seen them?
No.
They're really good. They're like the episodes,
I'm
but
really
not a million years long.
I'm really into like the 60s like licensing vibe. Of,
Yeah.
Like, them, like Doctor and Bond just having like unofficial like
It was a different
like
world,
the
wasn't it?
the off Bond films are just like a weird.
Well, there's one off Bond film. It's Never Say Never
I think
Again.
there's
There's
Casino Royale.
there's Casino Royale. I always forget about Casino
Yeah.
Royale. I've never seen it. I can't be bored with it. But yeah,
What a weird
that is a weird thing. I don't know what the situation there is. I don't know if the BBC like licensed it out to like.
I think they like licensed it out for like a movie.
Mm,
Like they licensed out. I think they licensed out the character.
mm.
No, because the Daleks
Well,
as
he's portrayed. Well, the Daleks will be a nation estate thing.
Yeah.
He's Doctor Who in those films.
Yeah.
He's not the Doctor. He's Doctor Who, and what's his face is in the second one. Bernard Cribbins
Yeah.
is a policeman who falls into the police box towers at the start. We should watch them. They're really good films.
5. Are the Stains are going to be the big bad? We can already answer
We've covered that. It's
I like-
weird, but yes.
Yeah, probably. There'll be someone else, and that'll tie into the time.
Maybe the
Stenza.
master is like controlling the
I
Stenza.
hope there's like other like better Stenza than Tim Shaw.
Well, like, are they all going to be tooth based? See if they just keep
Yeah.
their masks
I
on.
kind
Be
of
fine.
If we go if they were like a warrior race that had like a different gimmick.
But like, see,
as
warrior
well as
race
teeth.
stuff. I feel like Star Trek Voyager has mined warrior race guff so deep that like no one could possibly care about it again.
Also, I feel like it doesn't want to feel more Star Trekky. I mean, this week's episode in particular, when you're all beamed down to the planet to
Mm.
confront the monsters.
Some of these aren't.
Yeah.
Some of these aren't necessarily questions. I'm liking the free companion setup. It did seem like they forgot to give a Yaz any.
We talked about the lack of Yaz.
Yeah. They've
It's
really
weird.
gone balls to the walls in the production of the series, many cinematic shots and locations, etc. Have they cheaped out in CG? For the sheets, very much.
Oh yeah, the sheets were like
The
budget
octopus was
CGI.
passable in the dark, but the banshees would have generally looked better if they used like 4 bits of string on the close-ups. Yep. Question 8 is classified. Frank Callum. Based on your answer to question 8, does it? Yes.
I'm gonna say no.
Oh. Well. Who is your doctor? Who is your favourite doctor? And why isn't it Paul McGann? I've not seen enough Paul. Like I've not seen enough Paul McGann. I've not seen. I love the idea of Paul McGann.
You're in
Like,
love
to
with
me,
the
like,
idea of Paul McGann. You
Paul
just don't.
Like Paul McGann's probably got like the coolest fucking Doctor Who plots ever. Like he's the like.
I feel like if you're a student in like 2002, you'd probably be like, Paul McGann's my doctor. I've like found these CDs
I want
in
to
a
meet
charity
someone
shop.
where Paul McGann is their doctor.
I get like,
That
that's the
seems like
thing,
a
right?
great
That's a
world.
problem I have with being like, who's your doctor? Because it was like a child of like the void. Because it ended before I was born, and then when I was born, I guess you'd say that my doctor is Sylvester McCoy because he was the current doctor, and then I was like 5 when Paul McGann became the doctor, So is Paul McGann my Doctor? And then Eccleston, and then Tennant. So like basically everyone after a certain point is my Doctor.
My favourite Doctors are the second Doctor.
Troughton.
I also like John Pertwee. I
Pertwee.
like Tom Baker, but like it's just dumb to say he's like I can fully understand why he is your favourite Doctor. I really like it, but it just seems like trite to say it. So there's no point in me like saying it.
He is the Doctor.
Yeah,
like he is just what Doctor Who is.
Scarfman.
Like
Mhm.
5.
Peter Davidson. I hear he broke up with Ariana Grande the other day.
I don't much care for 6. Although
Oh, you should watch 6. I gained a new love for 6 during the Twitch stream.
I like.
You like McCoy.
I like McCoy.
How can
I do
you
like
sit
McCoy.
there like Ghost Light, sir?
Ghost Light,
Curse of
Survival,
Fenric.
Yeah.
Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah. It was New Who before it was New Who.
Survival.
I really like Sylvester McCoy, yeah.
Have you watched any of his early stuff, like Happiness Patrol and
When I
Paradise
say I like Sylvester McCoy, I mean I like his last series.
It's for, like I really like Paradise Towers
Yeah.
and Happiness Patrol. He fights Thatcher in that one. It's great.
The Seventh Doctor and Ace are one of my favourite.
Oh, aye,
Doctor
Ace.
companion
Yeah.
pairings. I like a lot of the Doctors. Like I really like Christopher Eccleston. I wouldn't have as one of my favourites. And then like Matt Smith and David Tennant are like my 2 Doctors.
What about
Like,
Capaldi?
I like he's not my Doctor. Like I don't like.
Yeah.
I
You were-
like him, but like
You like the
I wasn't
idea
like,
of him.
watching the show where like when I was like big into Who, like it was David Tennant and Matt Smith.
Yeah, I always
They're
remember
my
2008.
Doctors.
2008 was the era. I really like. I'm not going to go through them all. You should watch Vengeance on Varos. It's a 6th Doctor story, and you'll probably like the 6th Doctor after it. It's like this weird video nasty plot where this planet is selling like torture videos from its torture dome, and it's also about like politics. It's a weird episode. You'll love it. I really like the 3rd Doctor. Like
Yeah,
I really like.
Doctor's
I could
really good.
I could sit down and just like fall asleep to John Pertwee cutting about a field, dealing with like monsters invading, or the weird episodes where he goes into space and you're like, I thought he was stuck on Earth, but no, he gets away with that.
It's like they allow him like occasional visits all.
Yeah, he beats Omega.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like after I think it's his 2nd or 3rd series, he beats
Yeah.
Omega, and the Time Lord's like, you can have your memories and your dematerialization circuit back, and then he just cuts about after that. The to get back to Paul McGann, right? I would love to say that Paul McGann is my favourite Doctor. I just can't because I've only seen the TV movie, which does that have a name? Is it just Doctor
It's
Who?
just Doctor Who.
I feel like it might have a name, like the Curse of like.
I think it's just Doctor Who.
Is it the Curse of Eric Roberts or like? Have a wee look up there. I feel like it might have a weird name. I like that film. I liked it when it came out. I remember having it on like a recorded tape. Like, was it on the Sci-Fi
I
Channel?
googled Paul McGann and Holby City spoilers. came
I'm
up.
gonna have to watch Holby City at some point. Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, is in
He's
Holby
been-
City.
No one's known, but he's been in Holby City for like a year.
I was watching River City the other night. I was like, is it River City's in? No, it can't be because it's a Scottish one. So like, is he like a reverend or a nun? You're not a nun, but that'd be weird if he was a nun. Like, is he a?
I think he's a surgeon.
Is he a? I thought you were saying that he was like a hospital doctor, not a doctor, a hospital.
A surgeon.
I'm falling apart here.
I think he's a surgeon.
I want to say that he's my favorite Doctor because he has like a million CDs and he probably does a lot
Doctor
of.
Who, also referred to as Doctor Who, the movie.
Okay, the TV movie. I've only seen that. It's weird.
The Night of the Doctor.
The Night of the Doctor, aye.
Good chat.
Yeah, to be fair, The Night of the Doctor is up there in terms of
Good
like great episodes.
It's his best televised appearance.
Get the 5-ish Doctors in there if you want to like
Yeah.
split hairs and have stuff. I love talking about Paul McGann, even though I've not actually like gotten into the meat of his work. I listened to an audio adventure called Blood of the Daleks once. Sounded pretty good.
When this series is over, we could like do like a Paul McGann cast.
We could 100% do a Paul McGann cat. We can do that via the magic of Spotify as well,
Yeah.
so we don't have to even pay money. I listened to the first one
We
the other
could
day.
finally be Paul McGann.
That his first episode, the first like 5 minutes of it, aren't great. he sees like a time ship that's like wrecked in the vortex, and then it's very like describing what's happening kind of thing. He's like, oh, there's time vultures. What if I just spin the TARDIS next to them? Like, didn't seem great. But yes, hold us to that. I'm gonna keep saying that because me saying hold us to it has brought us here. So hold us to the Paul McGann cast.
Is it possible the Doctor is the Rani in the sky? Probably not, but...
He typed like 10 questions and I didn't actually see that one.
Would Colin Baker be more or less successful as an actor if his parents had called him Tom? He'd probably been less successful because he wouldn't have been
cast, yeah. Or he'd have to change his name because you can't have the same name.
Yeah, you can't have the same name.
That is my understanding. Maybe that's completely wrong.
Like David Tennant changes.
David McLaughlin or whatever he's called. McDonald, yeah.
Must be an actor from Bathgate thing actually, because I've got a friend from Bathgate who became an actor. He was called Andy Thompson, but he had to change his name.
Yeah,
somebody else was called that.
You can't have the same name. It's in the rules.
It's in the rules.
Captain
Lord, did everyone forget about Merlin literally as soon as it ended? This isn't a Merlin cast.
This is not a Merlin cast. I talked to Callum about this. I quite like Merlin, and I have now seen all of Merlin.
What happened to Merlin? Is this the Mandela effect? Well, I'm really into the Berenstein Bears.
The Berenstein Bears, have we talked about this? We've talked about the Mandela effect. Are they a Mandela effect thing?
Berenstein Bears.
Alright, okay.
They're actually the Berenstein Bears, but everyone thinks of the Berenstein Bears.
Well, that makes sense. Sounds better.
I have seen a really great movie where someone is a genie. Shaq,
right?
You ever heard of that genie?
No. Is this timely because the Aladdin trailer dropped today where Will Smith is playing the genie?
There's like a Mandela effect thing with like someone playing a genie.
Alright.
Yeah.
Someone playing Shaq.
No, because it's Shazam.
Shazam? Like the DC superhero Shazam.
This isn't good.
We're kind of trailing off, aren't we? We've spent all our energy on Doctor Who. This is it. We should probably just wrap up. Oh no.
From Josh from Sterling.
Josh from Sterling. What does he ask?
Do you feel this week's episode plays the 80s style heyday of Doctor Who?
I did think about that during the episode, and then there was a lot of people on Twitter talking about how it felt like an 80s four-parter condensed into, I keep saying 45 or 50 minutes. Was it 50 minutes?
Yeah, because like if it was like a split up into four, it would have been like the spaceship / the first little bit. Yep. It would have been like one episode.
Like the start of the race.
The boat would have been like one episode.
Yes,
the base would have been one episode, and then like the last little bit would have been the last.
The last, like the getting to the mountain and then the wrap up in the target. Yeah, absolutely. I think as that it kind of works like that because I was saying it felt kind of dense. Like nothing happens. There's nothing of consequence.
It feels dense, but also nothing happens.
Yeah, like a lot of things did happen, but nothing that you could like or talk about.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see the paper again. I don't think any of that.
Yeah.
It's going to become
recurring. That's. I think we're done. That was
done. We should mention that it got 7 million viewers overnight, which is great for Doctor Who. I want to say for like a second episode into a season. Like, the drop off was only like 1 million between like the people that turned up to see like what's the warm dock like, and then the second episode. So that's hopefully it can continue that. Like hopefully it gets the ratings. Hopefully it does well. Again, I keep fearing that we might come off as very cynical about everything that happens. But we love it. Like, we're having a good time. That episode wasn't good.
It wasn't as good as last week.
It's hard to talk to people on Twitter as well about that, because, like, you just turn up and people are like, yeah, I really like the thing. And you're like, did you, though?
Yeah.
Did you really? Think about it hard. Think about all the things that happened, because they weren't good.
But yeah, so we're back next weweek with, it looks like a Rosa Parks.
A Rosa, yeah, I don't...
Okay, that's going to appeal to the Brexiters with their racism.
With the race, well, they're racist, but they're racist against Americans, I guess. Because, like, it's a civil rights thing, and, like, it's the Europeans that they're racist against. Like, the Bradley Walshes of this world want the Polish people to go back to where they came from.
Yeah.
Like, they probably won't, like, love next week's episode, but... We don't really know what's the...
Why will sit there? The Bradley Walshes of this world want the Polish to go back to...
I don't think Bradley Walsh himself wants the Polishes to go back. I think people that like...
No, I don't think so either.
His character almost definitely voted for Brexit. It's hard to tell though, because...
We could do a whole podcast about which fictional characters voted for Brexit. Like, probably...
I was listening to that podcast.
His wife is a nurse though, so I'm sure she would have like educated him about the whole... like NHS and everything going on with like the Tories and their lies. Like I imagine she would have probably kept him straight on that.
But you might still.
No, I have enough faith in Bradley Walsh to believe that his wife would have kept him right there. Like I can see what you're saying. Like intrinsically, his character probably would have, but I feel like he's recently almost died of cancer and found love, and she was a cool guy.
I'm sure there was a lot of people who were/are dying of cancer who voted for Brexit.
Oh God. We can't end it. Like, I'm not going to let it end on like that. Like,
That's
no.
a really bleak
That's
note
the
to end
horrible
tonight's
note to
Doctor
end
Who
on.
podcast.
Like, I get you,
I hate
but it's
that
not
in a
happening.
world where we can't go through a podcast without talking about Brexit, but we're not in that world.
We're not in
And
that world.
like, this is a Doctor Who series that's clearly designed to somewhat pander to Brexit voters.
It is a shame like that.
Isn't it? Well, it's weird because it's both it's Schrodinger's
What's it-
Brexit Doctor Who because it's both pandering to them and not pandering to them at the same time.
It's trying to, have its
It's
cake
trying
and
to
eat
please
it.
everyone.
Trying to please everyone, which, that's probably what a BBC One flagship show should be
Yeah.
doing. It's just weird because it's this geek thing that we all love, and like it should probably be better than that, but it isn't. The it had 7 million viewers. Rosa Parks next week. I don't
Bad
like
trailers, bad.
the bad.
dancing
That's what
trailers.
I was going to
Last
say.
10 seconds.
It's 10 seconds, and then when the episode ends, it has an ad immediately in the ad break that is a longer trailer, but kind of the same thing. I think there was lasers. The doctor was like, "Oh, we got to keep history correct. Like, we got to keep history the way it was." So I guess they got to keep, like, Rosa Parks like doing the thing on the bus. Like, I guess that's gonna be covered. It sounds very First Doctor-y, very like historically these like educational, teaching
Yeah.
kids about things. That's great. They should be doing more of that. I always say
It's great that we've reached the point because like that hadn't happened when Doctor Who first aired.
Right. When is the Rosa Parks thing? Because I'm not
Like
up on.
1955.
Yeah, it's a
64, 5 kind of thing.
I always think of it as a 60s thing, but I
Yeah.
guess that's because I'm horrible and I'm lumping it all together. The educationalness of it, that's cool. And I always say that Doctor Who should be doing a hell of a lot more 20th century
It
episodes.
should because
Like, it doesn't, like, you hate episodes set in the past. Like, you've got a thing.
I don't hate episodes. I hate episodes set in like it's ye old 1700s.
London 1765.
Yeah.
Like, you hate that. Like, they can get around that by just doing 20th century episodes. See, it's like, I know there's been a few under Matt Smith and Capaldi, but it's like, is Father's Day the only, like, 80s set?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
And think how good Father's Day is. Think
Like-
how fucking great like.
It's such a budget saving thing as well. Just do, like, a budget
Yeah,
episode
like,
and call
that's
it,
the
like,
reason why they
80s.
can't do like a lot of past episodes because they're way more expensive.
But, like, you can do loads of ye old ones because you can just reuse
Like,
period drama sets. That's like one of Doctor Who's shortcuts, and it's like famous for it. But like, just use like, I don't know, like they were making like Life on Mars and stuff 10 years ago. You could have just, if it was just cut into that,
Kind of
set and
80s, like that'd be so good.
do a 90s set
90s
episode.
set,
Like,
yeah.
I am not that excited for next week's episode. There's like, it mainly
It's
because
hard to tell from the trailer.
yeah, it's because of the trailer because
It's probably gonna be like trying to be like endear like sort of like
it's you can't say.
educational, but then there'll be a monster.
But like, yeah, there'll be a monster trying to set back civil rights, and I guess that's good because you're doing metaphor for stuff. But
I'm quite excited for it. I quite like when Doctor Who gets so political, even though it's like
Oh, aye.
obvious politics because it's a mainstream show and it needs
we
to
were
be-
definitely not.
I like it. It's reassuring.
Yeah, we're definitely not the people that are like, oh, media shouldn't be political.
no.
Like, oh, I can't believe Doctor Who's gained an agenda overnight. Like, I
The
just.
whole preview thing kind of reminded me of there was a Tennant episode with Martha where they went back in time and met Shakespeare.
Yep.
And Martha was worried that she was going to stick out like a sore thumb because she was black, and that was like a kind of plot point.
Yeah.
Shakespeare was just like, oh yeah, there's loads of people who are people of colour in Britain even at this time. That's totally a
Yeah.
British thing.
I don't really know how to feel about that when it happens in Doctor Who, because it's kind of like they're saying racism doesn't exist and didn't exist in the past, but like very much did. But also
yeah.
like, because it's like, I like it when it comes up for Greece and then people are all like, oh, gay people in the past, and it's like, yeah, have you seen like ancient Greece? Like that's a whole, I don't even know if, because Assassin's Creed Odyssey's out now and that's set in ancient Greece, and I don't know if that tackles the fact that like, the gays were well into men, the Greeks.
The Greek
Well,
Greeks,
I
the
should
gay
have
Greeks.
done,
Yeah, the gay
They're
Greeks.
probably just all fucking each other in that game.
Like,
Sounds like a
hopefully
horrible
it's
history.
accurate.
Let's always remember, Assassin's Creed is made by like a multicultural team with all faiths and beliefs.
I haven't seen that screen in like a decade. Like, I haven't.
I bet you it's still there.
The most PC game. Oh, hopefully.
Anyways, that was Doctor Who.
That was
We'll be
the
back next
Ghost
week.
Monument. Do you know what the next episode's called? Do you have one?
Rosa.
Is it just called Rosa?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a good episode
Yeah, that's
title.
cool.
That's
cool.
memorable.
Do
I'm
you
looking
want to know what
forward to-
episode 4 is called?
No. Tell me.
Arachnids in the UK. Spoilers.
No, that
That's a good title.
Is it going to be set in the 70s? Oh.
I believe it's set in Sheffield.
Oh my god. That's
During
very.
the punk movement, the Sheffield punk.
Sheffield Punk could be really good if it is the 70s, but see if it's just Sheffield
I bet
again.
it's just modern Sheffield.
Oh, that's very RTD. That's like coming
I
back for
tell you
Aliens
what
of
the
London.
is in the UK. I want punk spiders.
Because
I mean,
that's.
it could be set in the past.
No, that's like. I want Punk Spiders as well. There's,
Why don't they do that like set in like Sheffield of the 90s? Like you could have like Robert Carlyle like in the background
yeah.
of Monty G. Like, come on.
Yeah, make it happen.
Oh, that's like. I hope it. I'll be really disappointed if it's not just modern Sheffield. But like, see if it is. That's literally like season 1, like establishing episode, future episode,
Yeah.
past
Past
episode, back, and then they'll be like, "Where have you been, Yaz? You've been away for 6 months." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I thought it was 5 minutes when it was actually 6 months. You've been away." That's potentially bad.
Anyways, we'll find
Thanks
out.
for listening, everyone. I know that some of you chatted, but we were like in a stream of consciousness, and I didn't want to interrupt it. If you only saw a blank screen, that's because this is audio only, and I should have probably said that at the start. Thanks for listening. I've been Girthy Craig. You've been David, I assume. Megan, you Megan?
I am Megan still. Yep, I'm not doing the daft handle thing.
You might want to at some point. It's fun. You get to like put girth in your name.
Yeah. I feel like that's your thing though.
Oh,
I'm
don't
gonna stay
take
away
girth.
from girth for a wee while.
Stay away from the girth. Stay away from the girth, everyone. Bye.